What's up, everybody? Eric here from Psychic Vacuum, and welcome to the channel. I'm gonna do another installment in kind of a spin-off of my underrated, or I should say overlooked albums series. This time I'm looking at a death thrash metal band from Canada from the early 90s, and that would be Obliveon. And yeah, this series I basically want to feature bands that are overlooked, like highly rated by people that know them but just don't get mentioned enough. And I honestly hardly ever hear anyone mention these guys, but these first two albums are just amazing. So this band was formed in, let me see, I wrote it down here. Formed in 1987 in, my French pronunciation isn't great, neither is my English apparently, but in Longueuil, I want to say, and Montreal as Obliveon, normal spelling with an I, or two I's, with Stéphane Picard on bass and vocals, Martin Gagne on guitar, Francis Giguère on drums, and he was replaced by a new drummer, Alain Demer, in 1989, and that same year, Pierre Remillard joined on guitar. So, this album, they did record 3 demos in 1987 and 89, and they changed their name, or changed the spelling of it anyway, putting an E instead of an I, and released 2 more demos in 1989 before putting this album out in, oh man, sorry about the glare, this album out in 1990. It's called From This Day Forward. Now, I have to confess, this was an early collecting CD purchase for me, and this is a Russian bootleg, unfortunately. These CDs have not been repressed, I don't think, ever, in this version anyway. So this is the repress from 1998, but here, I'm just going to take it out of the case. Too much glare. Alright. Anyway, sorry about that. I just happen to like, I kept this other version too, even though it's unofficial, because I happen to like the original artwork quite a bit better. I mean, the logo on here and stuff is just kind of lame. The artwork itself is fine, but I just like the aesthetic of this one better. The colors and the art and that original logo is just pretty awesome. But yeah, these CDs haven't been reissued very much at all, and this original one is about, it's over $100, I know for sure. I checked a little while ago on Discogs, and this other one, even the 1998 reissue, now I got this for 35 or 40 bucks maybe 5 or 6 years ago. This is selling for like 70 bucks now on Discogs, which is crazy for a weird repress of it. But yeah, this album, okay, for the music side of things, which I should probably get to, these guys are hard to categorize. They just have a really unique sound to them. They're kind of thrash metal, I guess you would call them mainly, but they're not super fast like a lot of thrash bands. They could be borderline death metal in spots, but they're not as heavy or as brutal as most death metal bands. They're kind of progressive, but they're not like way out there, and they're kind of technical too, but they're not like super crazy technical either. So they're kind of this meeting point of all those different styles. I guess it's technical progressive death thrash or something, I don't know, just splitting hairs now. But yeah, this is their debut album, and this is awesome. You got 7 tracks on here, 1 instrumental, and man, these guys just don't quite sound like anyone else. You can hear the lines drawn kind of from a Voivod influence. Of course, these guys being from Quebec, I'm sure they listened to a lot of Voivod at the time. And yeah, this is just really good. It's kind of hard to describe. It's got kind of psychedelic elements. It's got some clean guitars that pop up here and there, but it's just really well executed. Man, the riffs on here are just awesome. Almost every riff on here is just great, and they have a great sense of pacing. There's not a lot of really fast thrashy sections, but they do pop up here and there. A lot of this is kind of mid-paced, to be honest, but just really intricate riffs, and they have a great sense too of musicality. Like some bands in the technical or progressive kind of thrash and death metal areas go a little overboard, in my opinion, with just 1,000 riffs and just switching it up so frequently that you can't even headbang to it hardly. And yeah, I love my prog and stuff, but I also love the headbang. And these guys are a perfect middle ground in that regard, because they do have a lot of riffs in all these songs, but the transitions between the riffs are smooth, and they do hold on to the riff for long enough that you can kind of settle into it. And yeah, just great front to back. From This Day Forward is the first track. Some cool spacey leads on there and stuff, and clean guitar intro, which is interesting. Fiction of Veracity has some really cool leads in the beginning. These guys are great musicians as well, for sure. The vocals too are kind of interesting. They're very harsh for thrash, but they're kind of not quite on a death metal level. Think maybe mid-80s Millie from Creator, or what's his name? Ron Royce from Coroner is a good comparison, maybe. But maybe a little deeper, little harsher. Yeah, Droidamized on here. Droidamized might be my favorite song. That one's just intense, and a lot of like faster, thrashy sections on that. Man, Imminent Regenerator, It Should Have Stayed Unreal, Access to the Acropolis as the instrumental, and Chrono Craze finishing things off. I mean, I could say the same thing about all these songs. Just awesome riffs, good grooves, but they're not groove metal by any stretch of the imagination at this point. But just, yeah, great songs that are intense and technical, but also just keep you headbanging for the entire album. Just awesome stuff. And then we have their second album from 1993. This is Nemesis. And this one is even better, in my opinion. There you got the guys on the back. Man, sorry about this glare. I'm gonna have to try to get this figured out in the future, but yeah, and another Russian bootleg, unfortunately. You can find the stuff on Spotify and Bandcamp as well. I bought it on Bandcamp to at least support the band, because they obviously don't get any money from Russian bootlegs. But hopefully these will be reissued. There are rumors of these guys actually recording a new album after taking a 25-year break. It's supposed to be coming out in 2024, and I think they're going to be reissuing some stuff at the same time. So hopefully these will be reissued. There you got a better band photo. Yeah, cool artwork on this one too. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but yeah, this you could almost I would say it's a little more death metal vibe. on this one. The vocals are a little bit lower in pitch, and less fast thrashy sections, to be honest. Maybe a little bit more groove creeping in, but still, man, the riffs on here just do not sound like any other band that I've ever heard. And the rhythms too, the drumming, everything on this album, the whole band has just tightened up. The musicianship, the production is a little cleaner as well. The songs are more thought out, maybe more methodical, a little bit than the debut. A great track to just demonstrate all that would be the first one, Nemesis, is a great lead-off track. Just the rhythms and stuff in here are just so cool, and the riffs are just, yeah, again, really intricate, but not overly technical either. This album, again, you can just headbang the entire time pretty much without letting up, but it's heavy and intense and technical. I'm using the same words over and over again, but yeah, it's hard to describe some of this music. It's just, you gotta hear this stuff. You could compare this to some of the later Coroner stuff, I would say, the last couple albums. You could compare this to an extent to something like Death's Human or Individual Thought Patterns, but they're not that technical. They're not quite on that level. But yeah, one thing I noticed about this album is there's not as many leads on it. There's not as many lead guitars, but you really don't miss them. There are some cool ones that come in here and there. What I should say is there aren't solos like there were on the first album. There weren't that many on the first album either, but basically non-existent on here. But yeah, you don't really miss them. These songs just have a really unique atmosphere and feeling to them that you don't really get with any other band that I've discovered anyway. All these songs are just amazing front to back. Nemesis, The Thinker's Lair, Obscure Mindways, Dynamo, Frosted Avowals. I'm not sure what that means, but that might be my favorite song on the album. Factory of Delusions, Estranging Abduction, and Strays of the Soul is a great closer as well. I mean, front to back, all great songs. The lyrics, I'm not really a lyrics guy, but I think the lyrics on here are a little more kind of philosophical compared to this one, a little more kind of spacey and sci-fi stuff. But both of these albums are just absolutely killer and worth checking out for anyone into death thrash, thrash metal in general, technical stuff, proggy metal. I mean, yeah, just check them out. If you already know these, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and if you haven't heard these, give them a listen and let me know what you thought. So yeah, that's all for this time. Like and subscribe, I guess, if you liked this video, and yeah, see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.